Hi, everyone. My name is Maya, and I'm one of the organizers of Vue Israel, VueJS Israel. And welcome to our first meetup in Vue. Okay, it's the thing, I didn't expect to have so many people here, so that's a good thing for the start. And this is Dima, which our co-organizer. So just before we start, I would like to do a bit of keynote for everyone that joined in here about our community and our meetup group. Is this okay for talk in English, or you guys prefer in Hebrew? Okay. Okay, so let's start. So Vue, this Vue is the framework that is actually the rising star in 2019, which the most started on GitHub, I think, and also very popular across the globe. And the ecosystem is really great, which we have Vue Router from the core team, and we have Vuex, which we will be, the talk about Vuex will be delivered by Yaron Biton. We'll have Vue CLI, which is allow us to create new Vue app or Vue plugin, or add a plugin to our Vue app very easily. We have Grissom for server render. It's like Gatsby, but it's way cooler. We have NuxtJS server-side rendering, and also now we have it also supports static site render like Grissom. And Snir today will also do a short talk about NuxtJS. And Vue Apollo, which just released a stable version, which integrate Vue with GraphQL and Apollo. And of course, not to mention that Vue 3 is coming on the way with hooks and all the performance improvement. In Israel, for VueJS, before 2019, we have a VueJS community on WhatsApp, about 200 members. We have an active Vue Israel group, 900 members. Well, that's a lot of people. And we have an inactive meetup group, Vue LI, right? Vue LI was created by 500 Tech, and they was really inactive and not doing anything. So when I go across like this, and I just realized that we don't have an active meetup group or anything that join everyone together and really share knowledge together, except Facebook and WhatsApp, which kind of separate from each other. So in February 2019, we create Vue JS Israel, which have a meetup group. You can join. If you haven't joined, join it. And we have the official Facebook page called Official Vue JS Israel, because the other is not official. And we have a Twitter account. If you get on Twitter, then we use it to announce or attract speakers coming from abroad, from core team, to coordinate with the core team members. And we have VueJS Israel Jobs, which is a group dedicated for posting jobs or looking for jobs for Vue developer in Israel. And the good news is our Vue meetup, our Vue community is recognized by and backed up by the Vue core team, which we will have a lot of collaboration and speaker and support from their team to VueJS Israel. And about our team, Dima.
Hi guys, Manishma. No, I will continue in English. So let me present. I don't like too much of animation, so I'm just skipping the slides. Let me present Maya, which is the founder of this amazing thing that we already here and having fun and drinking beers and eating pizzas and stuff. She's a senior developer at Cloudinary, which is here. Hello. And she is writing for Frontend Weekly, and she's a public speaker, not only in Israel. The last one were in London, like 2 weeks ago, right? Something like that. Okay. So, and me, your humble servant, I'm the co-organizer of this amazing thing. And I'm looking at the slides like I don't know who I am. So that's strange. So I am a front-end developer, mainly specifying in everything that is client-side and user experience oriented. And I'm a new acquisition of Cloudinary as an MDE, which is a new term, media developer experts. There are only, for now, only 10 people, and I'm the only one in Israel. So if anybody here is interested about this specific program, you can ask me later on about it. And I'm teaching, and I'm also a public speaker, not only here, not today, but in other events. So you might have seen me talk about user experience, user interface, front-end development, and everything which is related to that specific sphere. So if you want to join the core team, you can email us, guys, and just give us ideas, or maybe participate in the next events and help us organize cool events like this. Okay. So what's the vision behind this specific event? Not this one today, but in general, VueJS Israel. We want to connect all the Vue developers in a similar way, like other big known frameworks like Angular, like React have communities that people share knowledge there. People share experience, people help each other, people find new jobs, people co-work together maybe. Well, in general, I don't think that I need to explain you what are the benefits of any community. So this is yet another community, but specifically for Vue.js. And we have a roadmap. So we're planning to do more meetups, of course. Soon to have workshops, which is we are not telling yet. Okay. There will be surprises later on.
Actually, the workshops we're planning a very close workshop with Vue School, with some Vue School team member will come over to Israel and deliver a workshop, which will be announced later. Also, some course with Vue Mastery, but still that one is on the way.
Yeah. So and the unlucky ones that will not be able to get to the Vue Mastery workshop might have a chance to win. I'm yeah, telling the future. Might have a chance to win $190, right? If I remember correctly. A coupon for Vue Mastery, which is an online score, and it will be done at the end of today's meetup. So, Vue conference, that's on the long term of our roadmap. Open source projects, we already have 2. One, it's on our GitHub. We will post it later on, so don't bother to searching for it now. One is to have a specific place for all the companies, all the Israeli companies that are using Vue. And the second one is all the Vue developers. It's a simple, like a markdown project that you can contribute yourself, your company, and hi guys, and discover maybe interesting people, interesting positions later on. So we have partners. VueJS Amsterdam, Vue Vixens, and Vue Storefront. Well, all of them are partners from abroad, but hopefully we'll have soon partners from Israel as well. If anyone here or is representing a company or is a company and want to sponsor our events later on, we can talk about it later also. For today's sponsor, which is the lovely Cloudinary that's hosting us today and in their amazing huge kitchen. So thank you, Cloudinary, wherever you are, guys. And if you have something interesting to say, you want to talk about Vue-related stuff, you want to maybe participate in our next meetup, or maybe in the workshop, or in general cooperate with us. So you can use the QR code, of course, or just submit the CFP later on. And thank you, guys. And let's start with the meetup itself. So. So our first speaker will be Johnny Doron, right? And he will talk about microinteractions, which is very, very interesting thing. Well, it's a global thing. It's not only related to Vue, but as Vue is a framework that is very opinionated in terms of animations and client-side interactions. So we thought that this talk will be a great beginning. And a fun fact that you didn't know about Johnny is that he's a master in breakdance. He has like 12 years of experience. So maybe he will show us something later on. Welcome. Okay, so this one you don't. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we can switch.
Hello, everybody. Please, with a raise of hand, who here knows what a microinteraction is? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Yeah, we got 3 people. Okay. So guess what? In this lightning talk, we'll get to discover what is a microinteraction and why should we care. The goal of this lightning talk is for all of you, the front-end developers, full-stack developers, anyone who touches the client side, to have like a certain general knowledge of what is a microinteraction and what is the importance of having these kind of creatures in your client-side applications, and also how you can, after you understand what they are, you could, of course. It will be easier for you to consider and to see how you can benefit by introducing these microinteractions into your applications, how you can create an amazing user experience in your products. Okay, so let's begin. Microinteractions, little things that matter. My name is Jonathan Doron. I'm a lead web developer. Also a community leader at Hodash Dev, which is a developer community of over 300 developers in Hod HaSharon area, city and area, with active monthly meetups, workshops, hackathons. You are welcome to search us up either in Facebook or in Meetup. Also, this is my Twitter, which you can reach me out, ask any questions, whatever you feel like. So let's begin. The thinnest explanation of what a microinteraction is, it's a single-use, subtle visual cue that draws the attention of the user to a change in a status. Sounds a bit tricky, but we'll get to understand it better. So it begins from our physical lives. Exactly, right? You see, you got this teapot in your house, and when you want to heat up the water, you have like this unwritten contract with the teapot. You just press the button, and then this blue light turns on to give you an indication that the teapot has changed its status and now is heating your water. We also have, this is of course a microinteraction from our physical world. This is an example for a very plain microinteraction from the digital world. It's just a plain card or button that when you hover it, it's like a very smooth transition of opacity and a bit like fixing the angle via transform and rotation. Something a bit, at least for me, it looks like something like elegant and moving, makes it more unique, this moment of hovering. Let's see a few examples from the wild. So you have this splash, like splash screen loader or spinner. You can use it for a splash screen. You can use it for to let the user experience some kind of moment during the time that he might be needed to wait, or sometimes even be frustrated from waiting. This is like, yes, maybe this is a bit complex example, but you get the general idea. All these spinners, we are used to looking at them, and we tend to just wait and be calm. Another micro interaction is this, it's from Facebook mobile application. It's a micro interaction of, like, as you see, it's like a three sparkling morphing shapes that if you zoom out a bit, it looks like it's a shiny new icon, shiny new action in the taskbar. Whether it was a feature that was deep down in the product and you couldn't reach it, or it's something that Facebook wants you to now, or any other company wants you to now know that this feature is now available, or you should now use it, or maybe you used to use it and now we put it in the taskbar for your convenience. So it's a way of indicating that something fresh, something new is up there, just with these visualizations, with this micro interaction. Another quick example is the mute unmute. Anyone who ever built or played with some kind of audio player, you know these conventions. And what I did here, I just decided to, when the sound waves, they enter the state of the active music, they have like this a bit, they stretch out a bit to make it a bit more alive. And they also fall, they get narrower when they get back. And the X that marks that we are now in mute mode is like transitions from within the microphone outside in like a very purposeful and clear-cut way to show that we are now changing the status from playing to muted, and vice versa. So this is a lightning talk, and I really couldn't give you the whole Torah on one foot. So I composed a recipe of 3 components that I managed to select, that I believe could help you when you come to design or implement micro-interactions in your product. The first and most important maybe is the feedback. Feedback is in terms of feedback from your system, from your interface, though to a trigger. So the user, he does some kind of trigger, he clicks, he hovers, he scrolls, and then the system gives the user some kind of feedback, some kind of indication that their action has any meaning, and now the system interacts with the user. The next thing is purposeful transitions, like we saw in the mute unmute example. You have another example that I think most front-end developers seen somewhere. It's like the mobile hamburger icon that indicates that we have a menu. And when you open the menu, at a lot of products, the icon transitions very like purposefully, as we see, and very accurately to indicate the change of the state of this dropdown. So this is one very important aspect of the micro interaction. And the third thing is to provide a personal or maybe emotional experience. This is the place for brands and for developers to give personality or brand identity into the micro interaction. I will show you some examples up ahead. So, which company does this micro interaction resembles, or which company is this? You can scream it. Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, this is Twitter. This is the Twitter heart. It's an infamous micro interaction. And now we're going to see another one. Which company is this? And again, you can scream. Medium. Yeah, right. Exactly. So you see how you instantly recognize it, although it's just visual, no text, no anything. Nobody needs to explain, no audio. Yeah. And this one, which company is this? Facebook, right? Everybody knows it. Cross country, cross culture, no language barriers, visual cues that everybody understands and know that this is Facebook, this is Medium, this is Twitter, and there are of course other examples. These unique microinteractions are what are called in the literature signature moments or key moments. It's a special time, a special moment when a microinteraction you designed or built becomes elevated to like a much higher level of UI element or interaction with the user. It becomes a signature moment. As you all saw and participated in this drill, you saw how instantly recognizable they were. Further, signature moments are a natural part of the interface, which means it's an action that the user does on a daily basis. It's part of the product, like Facebook, like Twitter. It's something that any user in this platform does a few times a day, if not tens or hundreds times a day. And of course, as I mentioned before, it's an opportunity for the company to introduce their international brand. And what makes it international, as we discussed a bit earlier, is the fact that it's recognizable without any barriers of language, culture, whatever. Okay, so Johnny, help me. How do I even start? So can you please, you can write with my phone? Yeah, write a bit. So yeah, now Moshe is writing, and you see that he's typing. Okay, not really. It looks like it, and yeah, and maybe I managed to catch a bit of your attention, and you stared at it at this little micro interaction here, and thought that Moshe is actually typing. That is the whole idea behind this. This micro interaction. Now we're going to see a bit of code. We're going to see how simple it is to create micro interactions. And I took this basic example of something we all know from Facebook conversations, right? When somebody is writing or answering us, we become a bit tensed or excited, and we stare at this very plain three gray divs. And wait for them to stop moving and disappear, so we'll get our much desired answer. So I took the courtesy to build this in a VueJS template, really to show you that it's very, very simple to make micro interactions, not only in Vue, but in Vue it's especially simple. So for those of you who are not familiar with about Vue, this is the component that the only component that I have. A single file component.vue that is rendered in the application. It's composed of three tags. The template tag, the Mac, and I'm a PC guy, so might be some bad things here. Script tag for your logic. The template, of course, is for your HTML. Script tag for logic, and style for all your CSS or Sass. Which you can also, of course, write this attribute scoped, and you get style scoping out of the box. Amazing. Okay, so what do we have here? What's this micro interaction? What a big word, micro interaction. Okay, so all that there is here is this like round avatar of my image with 50% border radius. It's in the styling. Next to it, there is another div that's a bit stretched and also with the border radius. And inside it, perfectly positioned horizontally and vertically, you have three dots, as you can see here, rendered three divs that are rendered with the v-for, which is exactly like a for loop or for directive in Angular, for those of you who know. And I dynamically give it a unique class, so I could control by the indexes, so I can control each dot separately, and also a key, which is also a best practice in Vue and important for Vue's change detection to be performant. I wouldn't get to it too much in this talk since it's a lightning talk, but check it out. So what I have in my logic, just a property named dots with an array of three objects, which also could be anything. It could be a string, doesn't really matter in this example. And I rendered them in the for loop that I showed you earlier. And all the magic that you see is right here in these lines 33 to 46 with the keyframes animation bouncy. And really all it does is transform those round divs 10 pixels up and down in a loop. And this simple thing is what makes us, you know, just stare at it and wait, anticipating, and not be frustrated during the wait. So that's pretty much the code example. It's a lightning talk, I know, I'm sorry. And since it's a lightning talk, I try to think what would be the one thing I would like you guys to take home with you, one key takeaway, and I really narrowed it down to what you see here. I also made some kind of micro interaction that shows this sentence. But what I want you to take is that micro interactions can really be the difference between an okay product or a tolerable product and ones we really fall in love with and have an ongoing relationship with, like Facebook and other examples you've seen. That's about it. I thank you. And guess what? The Facebook reactions is also a group of micro interactions. As you can see here, I will not go in details. It's a very unique thing. They are called reactions. I can talk about it for hours later if anybody wants. The details are not the details. They make the design. I want you to also remember this when you build products. It was a quote by Charles Ames, who is one of the fathers of design in general and also specifically in design, architecture design. I really agree with this sentence every day that I work, and I really try to pay attention to the details and make them count. And I think this is also something you can take with you. If there are any questions, I would love to take them. And if you want to contact me with any questions or suggestions, this is my email, my Twitter. And since it's a lightning talk and I couldn't finish everything that I wanted to give you, I wrote an article in Medium that 10 micro interactions commandments or tips. It's available via this Bitly or via my Medium account at Jonathan Doron. It's like, as I said, it's the 10 commandments of how or what to pay attention to when you come to design or implement micro interactions. That's about it.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, for such a lovely talk. It's very nice. I never know about micro interaction. I actually mistook it with micro front ends, but it's different. Now we have 5 minutes for question and answer. If you guys have any question, please raise your hands. Yes. Have a microphone over there on the. And just for anyone that came late and couldn't grab a bite of pizza, we have more pizza coming in, about 3. So I hope so please bear with us. We have more food. The drink is still there.
Hi, so this is a very newbie question. How did you make the delay between the 3 dots?
Delay. Yes. So basically, let's go to the example and see it. It will be best. So you see this animation is called bouncy. And the time I use it right here. And there is actually for a specific question, there are several ways to give delay to animations in CSS. The way I use is just via the delay property in the animation property, the delay value, as you see here. First one is triggered without any delay. Second with the 200 milliseconds, 400 milliseconds. And of course they are looping, so the delay sequence is maintained through the looping.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm interested in your distinguishing, yes, between the role of the front-end developer and the UX designer, which comes first in this case? Who initiates those microservices? Microinteractions,
yeah.
sorry.
So as I see it, like I'll explain briefly about what I think about it, and I can also take it on later and talk further. But I see a trend all over the world that front-end developers become more aware and also become, they have more a greater sense of ownership for the UX, and they want to understand UX and be involved in the UX process more. And I also see a parallel trend among UX designers wanting to enter the code more. They begin with CSS HTML, but I think it's a matter of time a matter of time until they also want to approach the JavaScript and learn code better. And I wouldn't say there's going to be a consolidation of these two entities, but since these two entities approach each other and try to understand the other side's work as a general trend, I think it's important for both of us to understand the sides. And this talk was given to an audience of front-end developers, but I think it could also be good for designers. And what I wanted to show is that it's really simple to build them. I wanted to show also that what are they composed of. And I think that even though the UX design currently, like in today's world, UX designers would be the ones maybe in charge of designing the microinteractions, the front-end developer could also make sure the implementation would be more appealing and greater. And also one more thing to consider is in startups, in small companies, you don't often have, at least in Israel from what I saw during my time so far, you don't always have a UX designer in-house. It's usually outsourced. It's usually somebody that comes for a limited time. And if you're a front-end developer, like if you're a CEO of a company and your front-end developer has a bit of orientation and aesthetics touch to UX, many times they are involved. And that's from what I experienced personally. I was involved in product design, in wireframing, and eventually also in implementation. So that's about it.
Thanks.
So while I question you, I will switch the slides. So do you know of any tools maybe that might help me as a junior developer, that might help me like build the animations and prepare them for coding?
Yes, this is a great question, Dima. Thank you for it. There are many tools that can help during the design process and also during the implementation. There are many, if we have in the coding world, we have playgrounds to test various technologies. You have also a lot of playgrounds to test certain motion and animation characteristics, which are implemented via CSS, can be CSS properties, SVG. So you got playgrounds for SVG, playgrounds for CSS transform, clip path, and all kind of other things. I have a list in my Notion. If anybody wants, I can share personally specific tools, no problem.
Okay. One question, last one. There you go.
So my question is, you spoke about it and you said how great it is and how good it is. My question is look at the bad side of it. Like, for example, whenever there's that interaction with the user, for me at least, in some websites, it's just annoying sometimes, you know? There's that micro interaction, you see it over your mouse. It can be in all sort of ways. My question is how really right that thing is, how really popular and how really it's going to be working now in 2019, or how really users are interacting with it and how right it is. That's just the main question. It's like, sometimes it's just annoying for the user, in my opinion.
Got it, okay. That's, first of all, what you're feeling is perfectly right, and it happens, and it happens a lot. The answer for why this happens is that many times microinteractions are poorly designed. This is the reason. There is a certain tendency for people who design microinteractions to try make them have a exaggerated or unique wow effect when it's actually unnecessary. So I show you in this talk a variety from basic and plain and simple microinteractions we see on a daily basis, like someone's typing, which I'm really used to it. You don't even think about it if somebody doesn't tell you about it. Or for example, the transition between a hamburger and the X icon. It's very purposeful. It's very efficient, quick, shows the transition between states. Not too cocky, not too sophisticated. So you got simple, you got more complex. Nowadays, it's more the UX designer's role or the micro-interaction designer's role to do it like bimsura, we say in Hebrew, like with good taste, yeah, not too much when it's not needed.
The thing is that you don't know when it's too much or when it's too less, or in my opinion, it's like if you want to try
from the designer or the developer's point of view.
Both. You cannot know if you want to try something new.
That's a different subject, and it's also a bit true. The one good way to do it, and it's true. You can never know 100%, but you can develop a certain sense of good taste during time and experience, and also if you keep doing A/B testing and listen to your users and get feedback from them during versions, you can understand what is more obtuse, more good or more or annoying. And yeah, consider that feedback. There is no perfect recipe for microinteractions.
Okay, sorry, but if you have more, I'm sorry, because we're running out of time. So if you have more questions, please talk to, you're very, very welcome to talk to Jonathan just now, because we need to get to the next speaker and stick to our schedule today. Sorry. And thank you, Jonathan. And please welcome Yaron Biton, our next speaker, which is a coding academy chef instructor. And I think most people here are related to him somehow.
This one.
Oh, and one thing that no one knows no one knows, or maybe his wife knows, I don't know. Why I haven't seen it. I'm sorry. He's the master on Clash Royale. Is it a game? Yeah. Okay, so anyone want to play with him, please download Clash Royale and welcome Yaron Biton.
Okay, guys, nice to see you all. And we're going to start. We have a quick time. We're going to talk about today about VueJS dynamic components. And we're going to do some like hardcore live coding, building a small application together. We don't have much time, but we will try to do it. I made some snippets in advance that will help us achieve it, I hope, if the goddess of demos will be with us. So let's talk about dynamic components. What are dynamic components? So in Vue, we have a nice feature. It's a component that is called component, and I can tell him which kind of component it is. For example, this one will be an H1. I can decide which component it will be dynamically using the is property. I can have some variable and then select the right component on runtime. I can switch between components. This is a very powerful thing, and it can be very useful in several types of applications. When I work with dynamic components, we need to understand that they need to have a clear API. All the component that I switch will need to have the same API, because if I'm gonna use a component and then switch it with another component, it should have the same inputs, the same outputs, otherwise it's not gonna work. So for example, here we have a component that gets an info prop and always emit an inform event when it needs to inform something to the parent. So all the components will have a clear API and I will be able to switch them. And this is actually a shape of polymorphism, a way that I can work with different components with the same API and get a great power of reuse and abstraction. So we're gonna do some live coding and we're gonna build a dynamic survey. Like we want the server to decide which form to render to this user, and then we're gonna get this JSON thing and we're gonna render a form dynamically. This is what we aim at. And you can see that this is our data structure. It's a kind of a survey and it has a list of components. Some of them can be text boxes or fancy select boxes or different kind of components, and I will be able to render them dynamically in a loop and get the form that the server decided on. So this is our target, and let's see how it's gonna go. Okay, so we're gonna do like a hardcore starting from zero, always zero, almost zero, and I'm not gonna work with the CLI here. I'm gonna keep it very, very light. It's very easy to prototype with Vue without having any CLI, and just going with the basic index HTML and then add the Vue and the Vue router that I downloaded to this simple lib folder, very old school. And then I have this main.js, and this main.js is marked with type equals module, which will allow me to import and export as I will and get all the power of ES6 module system without worrying about it too much. So this is my main, and starting to work with Vue, I need just to build a basic Vue instance and deliver an object here. And here I can provide a template and have some section and then maybe an H1 and say hi Vue. Hi Vue. Okay, and I want to mount this component, so I can use, there are different ways, but I can use this $mount and then say, okay, mount this thing and then provide a selector. If I have this div here, so my app will be rendered inside this thing. So let's open this one with live server, and surely enough, we see this hi Vue, and let's also open the console, and let's move it to the side and work this way. Okay, so we have a very basic Vue application, and it is working. Next thing that we're gonna do is have a single page application. It's very easy. So here under JS, I can make a folder, call it pages, and inside there I can build the pages. So just a basic file, I will call it home.cmp.js, and this will be my home component. A component in Vue is a very simple thing. It's just an export default of an object, and this object has all the options for Vue. For example, if I will have a template here, that will be always the first thing to do. I can have a template, and here usually components are section, so I can have my section, and the autocomplete stopped working here for a second, so I will okay, something like that. And this is my template. I can have this section, and inside here I can say something like a home sweet home, have this H2, and have like home sweet home. Okay, so I have my component, and I can have different pages. So this is home, and I will quickly duplicate this file and have another page. So I will have a survey page that will, this is the place where we're gonna build the survey. So just a simple, and here I can write survey. And now I can go to my main.js and I can have the different routes. So I can import those two components. So under pages, I have these two components. I just import them, and then I can create my routes. So routes is just a basic array that says where to go. Okay, this is the path for home, this is the path for survey, and this is easy enough. And then I create this router object and provide him with the routes, and it is ready. This router needs to go here to my root instance. He needs to know about this router, and I have my routes ready. So here, if I will, okay, I have my routes ready, and here I will need to have the router view. So here I can have a router view, and now I see my home component, and if I will go here to survey, I will surely see my survey component. So this whole thing, it works, and we have a single page application. I can quickly take this stuff from here and have like a routes file. So let's do it, routes.js, and then we can throw all these things here, and then we can import the router from this file. So import router from routes. And that's the router that I will provide here, and I made some mistake. Import router from route, and yeah, I forgot my export. So here I can export default this router. Okay, yes. So now we have the survey, and we would like to have a quick navigation. So I will edit. I have this, yeah, just a simple navigation and the router view, and I can just copy them inside here. I will need to fix the indentation here. There are some disadvantages with working in a simple JS file, but there are also a lot of advantages. So let's fill it. Okay, now I am home and survey. This is a basic router link, and we switch between the two different components as we decided here. So we are ready to go, and we can go and build this survey thing, okay? Now in this survey thing, the first thing that we're gonna need is a form, right? We're gonna have a form, and sometimes it happens, and I found a way to fix it. So let me see, var CMP equals, and let's try now, close it, and try again, survey div, no. And it's, okay, it's not working, but it doesn't matter. We can code it. So this is our survey CMP, and we will need a form. So let's make some room and create a form. Form, and then we will have a button right inside here. And this button will be the submit button automatically. So button, yeah, it's possible, yeah. מה אתה אומר? די. די. אש. Yes, and yeah, we can export this thing, or just export default, and we can export default this object, and now we have a form. Let's see it in action. This is our form, and when we click save, we see this page all refresh, because this is the default behavior of form. But we will need to handle this form in JavaScript. So let's just handle the submit event, and I can call a method here, for example, save. And here I will have some methods, and here I can have the save method. Simple enough, and I can console log and say that I'm saving something. Now, if I will click it, I will still not see it because it's refreshing. My whole page is refreshing. So I will add what? Yes, we can prevent the default event quickly and easily. And then let's say, yes, we click save and we don't refresh, and we are saying saving. Okay, now inside this form, let's quickly have some select with the options just to fill it. We don't need this name and ID. We just need these options, and just say A here. And let's see this in our form. Inside our form, we have this, and this is the select. But basically, we would like this select to be a fancy select with div and images. So we want to use a component for the select box. So let's click quickly create a component. So here I have this pages folder, and inside here I will create the CMPs folder, and here I can quickly create a select box CMP JS. I have a snippet for a basic component. So this is a basic component in Vue, and here I can have my select with options. So I open the main JS again, the survey component, and here I will take this select from here and just place it here for a second. So I have an option and I have my select. And I would like to render this component. So quickly, let's render this component. Inside the server CMP, I can import this component. Yes, that's the one. And then I will edit inside the component section. So this component will be, I will be able to use it in the template. So I'm adding this select box, and here I can use that component, select box. Let's see it in action. Yes, we see our select box. It is coming from our component. Now, our component would like to get some props and to render these options dynamically and maybe some label as well. So it will get a props name info. And here it will render some maybe label with info.label. Info.label. So now it will not want to work because I'm not sending any info, but here I can simply select some info, and then I can send some CMP here, and this CMP, CMP.info. So let's create some data. So we will have this CMP.info. So here I can create my data. Data is a function that returns an object with all the data, with all the state for that component. So I will have, for example, a CMP, and this CMP will have an info, and this info will have a label. And here I can say, how was your shopping experience? Okay, this is, and let's see, and yes, I'm getting this label here. How was your shopping experience? And I can render those options. I can also send through some options. So we can go with simple array of different options. So I will have like great, fine, great, fine, and okay. Okay, so now let's render those options inside the select box. So here in this option, I will use v4 and work with that. So I will have opt in serve in info.opts, and then I can render the opt right here. Let's see it in action. Yes, so we have this thing that is render, and from the survey CMP, I'm using this select box, and it's nice. We're gonna switch now to work with our real data structures, not a single CMP. I would like to have a full survey. So I will remove this CMP from here, and I have a snippet. Let's see, survey. Then, yes. So our survey has a title, and it has a CMP, and this is how was your experience, and it's not working yet because here I will need to loop through those CMPs because I can have more than one, and then to render those select boxes. So I can have like a simple div, and this div will loop v4. And here I can go CMP in survey.cmps. And this is my div, and I can render this select box and render this cmp.info, still not working. Survey.cmps, CMP, I didn't save it. Yes, it works, nice. Yes, it works. And also if I will have another CMP, another select box like this, then yes, sure enough, I can have another thing, something, and then A, B, and C, or just A and B. So now we have a way from our JSON to be able to create these form. And for now we have only select boxes. And actually I can create different type of components, and this will be our next thing. But first, let's also handle the fact that when the user selects something, we want to inform the parent. So let's do it. How do we do it? We can have a change event here, and then we can have some report val, some function. And then we can have this select bounded with vmodel to just some basic val. So I will have some val in this data, something. And then I will have this method report val that will report that the value was changed. So it will do this and then $emit, and then I will render an event. And the event that I would like to emit is setVal. And then I would like to send this .val. So now, whenever the user changes something in the select, I am emitting this event up to the parent. So this is my parent right here. And if I would like to handle this event, I will go this and then setVal. And then I can call a function setAns. SetAns, this is the function that will set this answer. And for now, let's just code this method here. I will call it setAns, and this method will get the answer. And let's just report it to the log and see what we got. Survey got, and let's print it. Let's see if it works. So I'm changing something fine, and survey got fine. And here, survey got B. So I'm emitting whenever someone changing, I'm emitting it up, and it's nice, okay. I'm being able to report this val, and here in the survey CMP, I'm using this select box, I'm providing some info and handling this event. Now we are ready to switch to a dynamic component, because if I will have another component, for example, a text box, then I will be able to see it in action. So I'm creating a new file, and I will call it textbox.cmp.js. And I will create just a simple component, say something here, and let's make it happen. So here, we're gonna import the text box. And this is my text box, text box, and then I can use this text box, add it here to the array of components that are valid, that are available for this template, and then I can actually take the type of the component. I can use here the component coming straight from the core of Vue, and then I can use the is. If, for example, I will use the is and say that you are a select box, then it will be a select box, sure. But if I will use something like cmp.type, and then cmp.type, then I'm transferring the responsibility all the way to my data. So here the type of the component is select box. And here, the type of the component can be text box. Okay, your name. Okay, so let's see if it works. Yes, the first component is select box. The second component is a text box, which is actually this component that does nothing for now. And if I want to create this text box component, I can quickly do it like that. I will use the label, and then I can use an input and use vmodel to bind it. So vmodel, bind it to some val. So this is the val that I will have here, some state. And then I can also use onChange and do the same thing, basically, report the value. Report val, and if I will copy this method here, report val, it will be exactly the same one. So our text box, and here we want to render the info.label, and we are ready to go. Let's see it in action. Not working, info is not defined. Yes, info is a prop that we need to define here. And now, yes, we are also being able to render some text box, and we decide which component to render based on this type. Now it's time to take these things from here and move it to some service, because this is the way it works usually. I will have some survey, service, and I will use some method like get by ID, and it will be the job of the service to provide me with the survey. We don't have this, what did I miss? Oh, I deleted one. And this service, we need it, so I can import. Yes, and we don't have this service yet, so let's build it. It's a very simple service, like all the services that we will see today. So I can have a services folder, services, and inside here I can have a new file, and it's called surveyservice.js. Services in modern JavaScript are just basic export default. There is no need to work with classes and object-oriented and stuff like that, and dependency injection. ES# module is good enough. I can have get by ID here, and I can implement this function. Function get by ID, and this function will just return some survey hard-coded. So I will have var survey equals, and I can just take the survey from here. So here in the survey component, I remove my survey. So again, you all know this trick. Back, and then go straight. Oh. I lost it. Okay, never mind. So this is my survey, and I will move a step further. I will have a null here, and usually we're gonna get this survey when this component is created. So let me quickly do it. When this component is created, this is the good place to initialize this survey, this.survey, and then I can use the survey service and use the get by ID. You see, I get autocomplete and stuff that some people think that we need TypeScript for and things like that. No, it's simple enough. We can get the survey, and let's see. Still not works. Get by ID is not a function because here I didn't save it yet. And here I wanted to do my paste. Okay, this is my survey, and I have an extra. Okay, and not yet. CMPs of undefined. Oh, and here return survey. Yes, okay, now we have our survey, and we get the data from a service. So we started to feel that this is a real application. Our survey CMP is getting the survey, and then it is rendering dynamic components based on what this service returned. And we already have two types of components. We have this text box component and this select box component. And I want to add something to the text box, and through that to show you something interesting about working with modern JavaScript. So let me open my survey service. And let's say that I want to have some options here. some options. What's your name? And here I would like to have a Yaron, Muki, and Pookie. And I would like to use a data list, you know, data list, to allow the user to type something in the text box, but also to choose something from the list. It was called the combo box in the past. Yeah, so I would like to have this combo box here. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna open my text box, and in HTML, I can use this list property, and then I can provide here an ID of a list. So for example, if I have a list ID, something like that, and then here I can have a data list, and data list have options. Actually, it's these options look like that, options, and then here I can have the value. So, and we know already that we would like to, oh, I have the snippet for that. Let's see. Yes, let's take this. And, okay, so here I'm having this, this data list, and inside I have some options. So immediately we can see here that yes, I'm getting these options to my text box, and it works nice. But a problem, if I'm gonna use another text box, and here I will have something else, A, B, and here I will have something, and then I don't get the right ones. Why is that?
Option.
The list ID, right? We know that it's very problematic to use ID in modern HTML because I'm using the same component a few times, right? And I'm having two components that are using the same ID. So what can I do here? So there are different ways to handle that, but the best way that I think there is to use the component ID. So I can use the component ID. So here I can use the computed property, computed, and then I can have the list ID, which is actually a computed property. And here I can turn some template string. And for example, I can do something list, and then I can use this, and then ID, UID. Now, this is a unique for every component, and now I'm getting the right one here and the wrong one here. Oh, now it's not enough because here I'm not using binding, just string, but I will switch it here and here. So now it is a variable. It's not the string list ID, it's a variable. And now, yes, sure enough, we are getting the right response. So this is also something that you can find sometimes. Okay, let's see my plan. Yes, please do. Yes, it's true. I can create a data here, and then in the created, but it's very nice to use computed like that because it never changes and it's cached and it's very elegant. And I don't have a created here, so. Okay, so great. Let's have another one. And this one I'm not going to code because we already got the picture. So it's going to be very quick. And I'm going to add another component. And this component will have a linear scale. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like radio buttons. So linear scale .cmp.js. That's the one. And here I have yes. Let's see if we get it. So we have info.label, and then we can loop like that. By the way, in Vue, you can loop, just give it a number. For example, this loop goes 5 times. So, so here I'm getting some mux from the info, and then I'm rendering radio buttons, and same thing, emitting some set val, and that's it. So let's use this component, and here we quickly import the linear. I think I got so lazy that I created a snippet for. Okay, no. Ah, okay. And yeah, it's not the right one. So linear scale, that's the name of the component, linear scale. And I can use this linear scale right here, linear scale. And then I can add it here to the components, because otherwise I won't be able to use it. And now I can have this linear scale in my service. So in my survey service, I can add another one. We don't need this extra text box anymore. And here, just how was it? Oh, linear scale, thanks. Linear scale. And then how was it? And then we can have this max thing. So max 6 or 5. Let's see, what do we get here? Yes, it works. So we have this linear scale, and it's also a dynamic component with the same API. That's the trick when working with dynamic component. I'm using the same API. Okay, and okay, now let's handle the answers quickly because we can learn something from here. So I would like to have the answers. So I will have like an answers here, and this is all the answers that the user have. And in Vue, it's so easy to debug stuff. I can just, I don't know, put an HR here and then use some pre, and then here I can just render the answers, and it will render an empty array. Sure enough, here it is. But if I will add the answer to the answers, then I will be able to see them. And I can just go like this dot answers, it answers dot push the answer, but actually it's gonna work. So we see that we are getting the answers, but actually we need to keep them in the right order. So if the user will answer this first, we don't need it first thing in the array. So the best thing to do here will be to use this dot answers equals new array, and we can create it with the right length from the beginning. So it will be this dot survey dot cmps dot length. And now we are creating the array from the beginning on the right size. So we have 3 components. So we have place for 3 answers. And then here, when we are getting an answer, we would like to get the index of that answer. So we can splice it into the array in this index. So I can do IDX, and I want to splice 1, and that's the answer. Spice, to add some spice to it. Yes, so this is what I love, and I need to get this IDX here. So basically here, when setting the ans, I need to explicitly refer to the dollar event that is holding the answer that the child component submitted, and then I will need this index. And this index I can get from the v4 with that syntax. And then let's see if I'm answering this one first. Yes, it's updating the right one, and that's great. So we are handling the answers right, and we have dynamic components, and what else do we need? Okay, I created yet another last component just to show that we can do really, really nice things with that. So I will just copy this component. It is called Photo Tuner. And this component is based on the Cloudinary API for image manipulation. We are hosted in Cloudinary, prouded to be hosted here. And we can add this component Photo Tuner. I just copied it to my project. And let's just add it to our survey CMP. Let's quickly add this Photo Tuner.js, and we call it Photo Tuner. Photo Tuner, and then we can add it here to the components. And for it to show, we need to add it here to the service server. So we will need to have this another one, and it will be a Photo Tuner. And if we will look at the photo tuner component, this component expects also a label. So the label can be something like tune your photo, tune your profile photo. And here we'll need to provide some URL. Let's see, inside the photo tuner, it is presenting an image, this image URL, and it is using image URL. So here I can provide with some image URL. Image URL. And yes, let's see, I have this image URL somewhere here. Copy it for a second. Yes, that's the one. And let's just put it here. It can be any image URL, really. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yes. So, yeah. Got it. So let's see it in action. Yes, this is I see our component already rendered proudly. So this is the photo tuner. This photo tuner allow me to zoom inside, or do some zooming, do something with the size, do something with the angle, and also some effects. It's just a basic implementation. And then when I'm clicking done, it is sending this preference to my survey. This is the preference that I would like for my profile image. Yes, please.
How come from? Because I didn't see you doing any CSS.
Yeah, you got me. I created this main CSS. It has 20 lines of CSS.
I was already wondering what's going on.
Yeah, just so it will look a little bit nicely. I didn't want to add any libraries for CSS, so it's very basic stuff.
Okay.
Okay, more questions, please?
Wait, are we done?
No, I'm not done yet, but I'm getting there really
Let's
quickly.
wait with the questions for the finish.
Okay, so let's keep it for the finish. So let's do some really quick things here just to finish. First of all, our survey service, one time we'll need to get this stuff asynchronously from a server, but we can just use promise.resolve. And now this returns a promise. So all our code will work with the promise. And here, due to the async await power, we can just say that this is an async, and then here we can await this survey, and then we can move on. And this surely works nicely. And I have some error somewhere. Not read properties CMPs of null. And let's see, promise.resolve of the survey, CMPs of null, and I'm missing something. A template? A template? Cannot read properties CMPs of null. That's a VueJS. Yeah. Okay, doesn't matter. What did I miss? I did async and await. I'm waiting to the survey. And let's just comment this code, this console, CMPs of null, and I don't get it why it's not working. But, it can never work 100%. Someone see it? I don't know. Okay, so let's quickly wrap this thing up. And we have this idea of a dynamic component. And let's see what we can do with this dynamic component. So first of all, we created a dynamic survey with different components. And I didn't show you Keep Alive, but Keep Alive is a nice feature that is related also to dynamic component. And the dynamic component has 2 extra lifecycle hooks, activated and deactivated. And I want to show you some two applications that are real and working with dynamic components. Okay, here is one of them. it's like a Google Notes, and I have really different types of notes here. And all these notes, they have some common functionality, but I can pin them, and I can edit them, and I can create many type of different notes. And those notes are all dynamic components. One of them is a video component. The other one is an audio component or a to-do list component. And they all have the same API. Yes? One of our students. And I will show you another component. It's like a Wix, but for creating wedding invitations. I can get started, and I can start empty. And then I can create my wedding invitation, okay? So I can add some stuff. All of them are dynamic components. So this is one component, and here, Mookie, you know, Pookie, and I can add more like that. For example, a gallery component, and I can customize it to my own images or maps, and I can say where exactly is my wedding. In Petah Tikvah, of course, or somewhere else. And all more components, I can have a countdown component. I can say what the date for the wedding is. And I will have a countdown component. And one last one, I can have a gifts component. So this is like European style, all the gifts that we want. We can add different gifts. And then I can publish this website, and all my guests will get this thing. And if I will inspect this, inspect, and then I will look on the network and see the data structure coming for that stuff, I will see exactly how this thing is built with dynamic component. So we can see that. Too big. Okay, I'm here and in the preview, and you can see that this is the user, and this is the components that he has, an image title and the carousel and a countdown and a gift picker, and those all are dynamic components. So this is quite amazing. We can build meta applications, very generic applications with this idea of dynamic components. Whew. Okay, so questions, please. Any questions? I know that I was shooting in the dark. I didn't look you in the eyes too much because it's never been done in 45 minutes until now. And thank you.
So first of all, Yaron, thank you very much for this amazing, quick, almost without any glitches and stuff. But it's because everybody is praying to the goddess of live coding. It was amazing. It was quick, informative, in my opinion, at least. And all the cheers up before, well deserved. And guys, if you have any specific questions, please raise your hands. With the mics, yes.
Okay, any questions about what we did, about dynamic component specific? Very much. Yes.
If there are no questions, can you elaborate on the activated and deactivated part that you went over?
Yes. So really quickly, I can show you this dynamic component, this keep alive thing. So, or maybe I should explain it from here. So basically, when I'm using this selected CMP, so when this selected CMP is changed, the dynamic component is deactivated. So it gets an opportunity to do something. So it's a lifecycle hook. And the new component that is placed here is getting the activated lifecycle hook. So this is not really created. It was already created. And I can also use keep alive to keep it in memory, even if it's not shown. So this is the idea of those two lifecycle hooks.
Anybody else, guys? Okay, thanks again to Yaron for his quick.
Thank you very much. So before I go down, I will quickly tell you what we do. So I'm Yaron from MisterBit. I'm the CTO. And we do 3 types of things in general. We do development. So we do projects. We take projects from end to end, from a product all the way to deployment in productions. And we do consulting. We help companies decide about frameworks, about tools, about scales, about securities, about the various aspects of a modern cloud-based universe. We do training. So if in your company you're looking to hire the developer or take them to the next step of really top-of-the-art web technologies with service workers and progressive web applications and all the things, the new things that really change the world of web development. We are here for that. And we have a great bootcamp for smart people that takes people in 12 weeks from just being smart people to become great developers. There are many guys here, also Jonathan and Snir, that will come up next. They are a graduate of this program. If you know great people that will become great developers, do let us know. Thank you so much for Cloudinary for hosting us here.
So, guys, let me present our next speaker. Sorry. While he connects his laptop. Thank you. We have Snir Shechter, who will talk, what, sorry? We actually wanted to finish with him because it is a short talk, like 50 minutes, and then we'll have all the mingling and stuff, okay? Okay, so, yeah, you can, like, you know, take pizzas and drinks and stuff while we're talking. It's not, yeah. Okay, so, Snir will tell us a little bit about universal apps and how he builds them with NuxtJS, right? And 2 facts about Snir that you didn't know. One of them, actually, Yaron already said it. He was a student of Yaron somewhere in the past. And the second one, his cat named Jim. George, I was so close. So, you have the mic? Go on, dude.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to talk in English, but I'm not Yaron and Johnny. Okay, I'm gonna try and talk in English, but I'm not Yaron and Johnny, so excuse me and tell me if you can't understand me. So this is a short talk, a lightning talk, about 15-20 minutes. Yeah, I'm told. Okay, so I'm gonna squeeze a lot of information into this talk. So if I'm running too fast, stop me. And questions, let's save it for later. Okay. So what we're gonna do today in this talk, I'm gonna talk about production-ready apps, specifically with NuxtJS. Who am I? So. Like Dima said, I'm Snir Shechter. I'm 25 years old. I'm the team leader of the front in Monolith. Our company is doing all kinds of digital solutions, all in-house. All in-house from a digital strategy through design and development, of course, back and front end. We're located in Netanya and we're hiring if you're JavaScript experts. Okay, so SPAs, Vue is really great, but it has 2 major flaws. First of all is the poor performance. So Vue and SPAs in general are very performant, but relatively, when speaking about, when talking about the first page loads very slow. The steps to load it is, first of all, the files download, then they render. The JavaScript sends a request to the server, maybe, if you have some dynamic data like products or any articles or something. And then it's received back in the client and re-renders. So that's very, very slow compared to, let's say, just an HTML file. And the second problem relates to it is the SEO. So when the HTML is empty, there are no meta tags. Google can't scan it. Today, Google does scan JavaScript, but it does not promise it will scan it fully. It will not execute fully. And even if it does, the async data we requested will not show up. And indexing is not the only problem. The other problem we have is ranking, right? The ranking will be very, very low. We won't show up on Google, and that's pretty major problem for most websites. So what's the solution? The solution is a universal or isomorphic apps. What is it? Universal means it can run on 2 or more platforms or environments. In our case, it's the browser and the server. Okay, so let's see what it costs to build one in Vue. Or first of all, let's see how it works. Okay, so we have yeah. Single page application. So when you build something with Vue, you load it once, and then you have routes inside the application. You don't refresh. That's single page application. Sorry, this talk is pretty advanced, so stop me, like if I'm going too fast. So we have a Mr. Client in the browser. He sends a request to our server. And, we have 2 servers here. They can be 1, but let's simplify it with 2 servers. The first request goes to our front-end server, and instead of just delivering the files, what it does is compiling the code, running the JavaScript code, gets the data he needs from the API server, if he needs anything, compiles the code, builds the HTML, and sends it back to the browser for the client to see. From that point on, the client runs the JavaScript, and the HTML is already displayed before the JavaScript runs, so Google can scan it. So he runs the JavaScript, and from that point on, it goes into SPA mode. The client side takes on the data, takes on the HTML, it clings to it, and just moves on from the point the server stopped. Okay, in Vue, it's the before mounted. Before mounted runs already in the client side, and before that, if we render it in the server, it's the server side. Okay, so after that point, routing is internal in the browser, no refreshes, and the API goes straight. Okay, so as it's written, it's SEO friendly, it preserves the SPA capabilities, and of course, fast time to content. So what it costs to build one in Vue. So we have a small table here, just the must that we wrote, and what it costs. So first of all, we'll need a basic server rendering, and that's done with the Vue server render library. It's an official library, and 2 different entries. The first one is the server. The server renders the Vue HTML to a string, and the client renders it in the DOM. It costs 36 lines of code, a full-fledged server that we need to write and to maintain, and 3 files. Simple server, an express server, but yet a server. And the routing, the middleware, the routing. Let's say we have a non-logged in user. We need to return him the error page, or maybe the logged in page, not the other page, or just an error. So that costs us 21 lines of code and 9 lines of code per page for the middleware. And of course, the middleware is duplicated, once for the server, for the express middleware, and one for the route guards we have in the client side. And it costs 2 files also. So we have more stuff here. It's basically just the must. And as you can see, 267 lines of code and 12 lines per page. That's just something we tested on our one of our projects. And server, 5 files and 3 repeating duplications. So that's pretty hard. Maybe a simpler solution. So that's next. What I want to talk about. And Nuxt is basically a higher level framework. It means it's built on Vue. It's Vue, and you write in Vue. And it simplifies development, especially in SSR, server-side rendering, especially in universal apps, but also in many other forms. It's built by Vue core team members and the Chopin brothers, two brothers that build it, and inspired by NuxtJS. NuxtJS is a similar framework for React. Okay, so from the docs, it says, NuxtJS main scope is UI rendering while abstracting away the client-server distribution. What it means is you write one code and it runs on both ends without you noticing it or having to handle it. Okay, so this is Sebastian Chopin. He's one of the creators. I don't know if you'll hear it. Okay. Okay, wait. So maybe later. Mike, can you try? I'll continue, and in the end, maybe. So he gave a small video for us, so we'll watch it later. What are Nuxt's features? So Nuxt has many features. It's a really full-fledged framework. It has many cool stuff, simplifies many things. I'll concentrate on a few. First of all is the modes, as you can see on the left hand, higher left. Nuxt has 3 modes. One is universal, like we talked about. It renders one on the server on the first request and then goes into SPA mode in the client. The second one is full SPA mode when you don't need SSR and you want to keep your development environment the same. We use it sometimes in our apps. And the third one is a generate mode. Okay, so generate mode is kind of hybrid. What it does is you build your app. It gives you many files that are static, but it does the SSR once. So you have static files with HTML and everything. You can go put them on a S3 or Netlify. They are fully SEO friendly. It's mostly for static content. And it's really great. We use it also in our smaller apps. And second, of course, universal routing and universal data hydration. It's a really big problem if you check it in the official SSR docs of Vue. It's a really big problem, but here it's very, very simple. You barely use it, barely do anything. You just write one function, it gives you the data abstracted behind the scenes. Moreover, we can see that it's, of course, crawlable. It's very fast, super fast. You'll see it in a second if we have the time. And the development is very easy. It comes with all the libraries, official libraries you'll want, and many other, Vuex, Vue Router, Vue Meta, Axios, Polyfills, and Vue Server Render. It's all the basics. I suppose you all use it in all your projects. It's highly modular, so you can use anything there. You can change, starting from the SSR hooks through service workers, auto-injected sitemaps and everything. It has auto code splitting, which is really great. You don't have to do anything about your code splitting. It uses a next page strategy. If you have a link to a next page or somehow you can go, it fetches it. We'll see it later. And that's just for starters. So let's code. Hope I'll go like Yaron. So the CLI is really great. It's not the Vue CLI, but it's also very powerful. We built one similar in our company. Okay. So this is just a Nuxt template. It's the basic. I've added some CSS like Yaron, but no more. What? No, not cheating. Short time. Okay. So it's already, yeah, just a second. I'll try to duplicate. You can see something. Okay, so this is loading. It's a really cool loader. It's new on Nuxt. And let's see. So we have some new folders here. You might not know. They're usually not coming with Vue, but let's see. The pages folder is of course used for pages, and it auto-loads the pages and builds the router config. So I don't have to use any router config. Let's see. So this is the index page. Let's build another page. Let's call it in the exotic name about.vue. And I have snippets of my own. Okay, so this is the about page. And surely enough, it renders. This is the about page. And I didn't do anything. As you can see, I just put the file in the right folder and it built it. Let's check the console. Okay, let's check the source files. Okay, so if I'm refreshing and I'll print it, as you can see, VueJS Israel meetup, NuxtJS, you don't have those in normal Vue apps. And as I said, Google can scan it and give us good ranking. Okay, so let's try and bring some data from the server, maybe. Okay, so another snippet. This function is called async data. It's a function you can put on every page. And I put it here very simple. We have a process object available in both the client and the server. And we have a server Boolean that says if we're in server or not. And depends on it, I render the text. You can see it. Can you see it? Maybe I should. I don't know how. Yeah, it's with the wheel, but I don't have a mouse, so. Two? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is the async data. It's a normal Vue component, as I said, and async data is a function, and I'm calling the console log and returning a text hi. And let's put it in the page, yeah? Put in H2, and I'll put in text, and I'll, of course, prettier, my worst nightmare. And I'll go to the about page and hi from client because I moved from the client. And when I refresh, guess what? Hi from server. Yeah, and you can see, maybe you can't see because it's small, but you can see on the lower left hand, I'm being executed. This is the console log I've written. And if I put it here, so I'll go to the home page and return to be about. I'm being executed here also. Wait, I'll zoom that too. And what it means is that it ran our JavaScript code. Our Vue component just ran in both ends. Okay, but that's fine. Let's try something. Hold on. Let's try put a layout. A layout is very useful. It's a template for the pages. Let's say I want to show a different color, background color for logged in or non-logged in users. It's very common, but in Vue, we don't have a solution for it because Vue is very generic and it should be. But here we do. So let's call it in the exotic name.
Sorry, can you enlarge the font size? Because it's really hard to look at it.
Yeah, enlarge where? Enlarge what? Font
the side, like zoom in a bit.
The
text and everything.
Yeah, okay. Just 1 second. I have a snippet. Don't want you to look. And okay. So I wrote it. And enlarge. That's, I can't enlarge the files. So the file structure, so it's very small. I checked. Team Lavan. You want to help me? Come help maybe. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea how to do it. You can see? Okay. So I've just made a new component with the text, and it has a color, orange red, and a background, which is light blue. It's a normal component, the Vue component, like everything else. I put it in the layouts folder, which is a special folder also. And I put in it a special component, which is called Nuxt. That's the router view of Nuxt. So put it here, and it does nothing now because I didn't put it in any page. And let's put the about page. Let's go to the home and put the about page. I'll give it a layout, which is called the light blue, the one we've written. And see, I didn't use any config. I didn't do anything. And I'll go to the about page. And you see, this layout is light blue. This is the about page. Hi from client, because I moved from the client. But if I refresh, still from the server. And it changed the layout, which is very comfortable. We also have middleware. I won't go over it, but we have middleware, which is a folder. I can put global middleware or a middleware specific for pages. It runs on both ends, as I said, and it's like the async data, but more generic. Code splitting. Okay, so code splitting, like I said, very nice. We're in the home page. Let's create another page. I'll call it contact. And snippet of a normal component. And okay, this is the contact page. And I want to show you something. Yeah, okay, sec. Okay, normal page, 3 links, text, and let's refresh and see the network, okay? So I refresh, I get lots of JS files. This is the code splitting, okay? So it brought me the index.js file for, let's see if I can zoom that too. Can't zoom that. Okay, but it brought the pages, the index page. You can see it? Can you see it? Okay, so it brought me the index page, which is the one I'm seeing, and also the about page. Why? Because I have the link to the about page here. And look, the about page here has a link to the contact page, okay? So when I move to the about page, look how awesome. It brought me the contact page. Automatically, it's not a big deal in Vue, but it needs to, you need to work on it. And here it's automatically. One last thing before we're finished, okay? I'm building a JavaScript file, a normal JavaScript file in a folder called the store. That's the Vuex, okay? And I think I have one for this too. Yeah, okay. And I'll zoom in. Okay, so normal JavaScript file, state, mutations, actions, getters. Why the state is a function? Because of what we talked before. I don't know if you remember. Data leak preventions. It was in the table. Sorry, we didn't talk about it. And data leak prevention. If I put the state as an object, it will persist between users, and it will just leak out. You can bring sensitive information to different users. All users will receive the same state. So it's a function, and it's run automatically. Look, I didn't do anything, just exported all these 4 and put a name, Snir, my name. And let's see if we can use it, okay? So let's put, let's say, in the async data. Okay, I'll bring the store. This is the context in the async data. Wait, I'll enlarge it more. Okay, the context. And my name is in context dot state. Yeah, that's the Vue state dot data. Why? Because I put the file as data, so it's now a module. It's now loaded as a module. Dot name, that's the state, and I can put it here, and I'll put the name, and hope it works. Didn't check. Okay, cannot read property. What? Context store, yeah. Should have had a snippet for that too. Okay, hi from server, Snir. So hi from server, and it means that my name is received from the server too. Right here, Snir. Large. Snir. So that's about it. You see, no Vux config, no pages config, automatic layouts, automatic code splitting, many more features. I hope we'll have a chance to talk about it in the next talk. And let's get back to the presentation. Summary. Okay, so SPA is not SEO friendly. If you're building let's say an admin app or something, it's fine. If you're building a Ynet or anything, not fine. The only solution is a universal app for now, and it's pretty cumbersome in Vue. So I recommend, if you need SSR, you can use Nuxt. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Snir. It was the shortest, almost the shortest talk, and it was very informative. Do you have questions, guys? Something about Nuxt? Nuxt going once? Nothing? Nothing. So let's thank again Snir.
Maya.
About the video that Snir wanted to show, so we will share the slide later on.
Yeah, I'll just say, Sebastian Chopin, the creator, wrote us, he filmed us just a video. It was nice, but you can't see it now. I'll post it later.
Thank you. So, guys, I want to thank a couple of amazing speakers, Jonathan and Yaron and Snir, that took the time and prepared everything, their talks, and enlightened us with interesting information. And I want to thank our hosts for this great meetup, Cloudinary. And I want to thank you guys that came and hopefully had a good time and learned interesting stuff and met cool, interesting people. So thank you very much. I think a good clap for you guys. It's a good thing.
Okay, that was a bit of, that was a bit of kind of end of the day clap. Can we do a bit better than that? Woo! Oh, yeah. And big thanks for staying until the end, even though I know that it's very tiring for you. And this is the most exciting part of the day of this meetup. Raffle. We have the list of all the participation in the meetup, and we will do a pickup randomly for one person who will win a subscription for Vue Mastery course for 1 year. Anyone know my Vue Mastery? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Logo?
No, the Vue Mastery slide.
Oh, sorry. Okay, just technical difficulty, but anyway. So are you ready? We're going to pick. And who will be the golden hand who will do this? Any volunteer? It's only Daniel. Okay. I'm sorry, but he's first. So let's do it. You're not supposed to look, yeah? Yeah. No, I mean, don't look inside. Okay, who is Sagi Septon? He's here? No? Cool. Next. Too bad. Next. So you next. I think I will have to go around quite a long round now.
Maor Goldschmidt. Maor Goldschmidt.
Okay. No. Goldsmith. Okay. Anyone want? Next. You next. Look like Too bad.
Tell the last name, just Edward. No, Edward. Okay.
Okay, next.
Another one, please.
Please, another one. I have a feeling that we have to go every one by one to get it.
Orpaz L. Orpaz L.
Wow! Congratulations. Anyway, you need to thank her for picking you. So yeah, so we will need your email and we'll send the gift to you. And again, thank you very much for participating in our meetup, the first meetup of VueJS Israel. Any feedback, please, we will be very appreciate if you can give us the feedbacks for the next meetup. And have a lovely evening.